Stage 1, pressing for flight.
We're go for launch. Let's light this candle.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started. The clock has started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to Pressing for Flight, live from the Space Coast, where the schedule never holds, where the Starlink schedule especially never holds. I am your host, Stephen Marr. I've just learned something devastating about someone in the chat. Seth doesn't know who TLC is and does not get the reference of No Scrubs.
Waterfall?
Man.
What?
Oh my
Waterfalls?
goodness.
I don't want no scrub.
Yo, I feel attacked, Seth. You need to take
right.
that back right now.
How could
Seth,
you?
you need to go chase some waterfalls, sir.
That's right.
I see the rainbow yesterday. I thought about it. Oh my. Man.
Oh, he said no. Okay, maybe he'll.
Who needs Apple Music when you got Steve?
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Yes. With me
I
tonight.
was waiting for the chorus. I mean, where's the chorus? man?
No, the best part is Left Eye's little rap, which
That's
is
true.
many times left out on the radio. That's a shame.
Mhm.
To my this side, Zoom can't figure out where I am, so yes, that would be Matt Cutshaw. Hello. Over to my other side, we've got Matthew, Mr. Jordan.
Hey, y'all.
Sorry, Matt Cutshaw. I forgot your Mister. We also have Stephen, Mr. Keagle,
The shame.
and Becca,
Hi.
Mr. Penland.
Hello. I'm here and ready to learn.
I have it set where it's not mirroring for me because I don't want my photo background to be flipped the wrong way. So now I've got to try to. It's like looking at a mirror that is not really a mirror. It's terrible. Anyway, yeah. So guess what? If you guys have been paying attention to Twitter, if you have SpaceX on notifications, you have just seen in the last 15 minutes that tomorrow's Starlink attempt has also been scrubbed. So that just means I've got a freebie day off. I don't have to get up. I get crunk.
Oh,
Okay, how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Did everybody go out for the launch attempt today? Matt, you said you were out there somewhere on the coast, right?
Yeah, I was over at school, getting a little brushed up on some electronics knowledge.
Can you talk?
Or,
You want to talk about what the exciting news yet? Do you want to hold that?
I don't really want to jinx it. Just I have an interview tomorrow, and I was brushing up on my electronics knowledge and doing some mock interview questions to get ready for that. So I was actually already out there in Melbourne at Strack Institute, and they were taking care of me. I graduated from there back in July.
What is
so,
that?
Now, Strack Institute was originally called a Veterans Assembled Electronics, and it was a school designed to quickly and efficiently teach an average person who knows nothing about electronics how to go from knowing nothing to knowing everything there is to know in the hopes that you can get a job.
Right.
And that was the original intent. Well, their program works very, very well, and they've decided to monetize that. So now they actually do have a course that is for civilians that can come if you have $25,000 extra dollars sitting around to go to a trade school for 5 months. You can come out of there with your certified electronics technician certification, your J standard, which is soldering certification, and the IPC 610 and 620, which are cable wire harness certifications.
But
So-
25 grand isn't bad, and they're gonna, I'm sure, help with job placement and stuff, and
Oh,
then
yes,
being local,
absolutely.
obviously.
That's why I was there today. They hit me up yesterday. Hey, are you still interested in this thing? And I'm like, boy, howdy, am I? It was kind of what came out. But yeah, I do have a job. I'm already starting over in Melbourne on Monday. So whether the thing tomorrow happens or not, I'm still going to be working in Melbourne on a daily basis. So
Cool. Yes, the Space Coast is a great place because if you get a degree in any kind of thing that has to do with aerospace, then guess what? All those jobs are right down the street.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
Harry,
I had to find my in.
Harry suggested a name, Mirror, that's not really a mirror. Did I mention last week that I think it'd be cool if the chat would suggest, if you hear us say something that you think would be a good name for the show, because if you've noticed, we like
That's
to
a good
just
one.
name it.
That can
something
go on the
funny.
list. Potentials.
Yeah, so throw it out there in chat. It also helps us remember, because sometimes I'll think, oh, that would be a good title, and then just totally forget. So feel free to do that. Also, another thing that I would like chat to, I don't know, try to figure out is, who was it? Was it Bob? Yeah. Bob Bankin, one of the crew members of Demo 2, posted this photo today. He was talking about, let's see, what did he actually say? See, night views are the best things I miss, or one of the things I miss most about living on the space station. Our planet and the night sky are both magnificent. I can't look at this and tell where it is, so I thought maybe it'd be cool. Anybody in chat know where this is? If you can figure it out, you get a gold star. So good luck.
A lot of work.
Vote for me. Harry said, "Vote for me in chat." All right, let's
Popularity contest here.
Oh yeah. Hey, by the way, have you guys noticed that Buzz Aldrin has been posting, like in the last few months, has been posting more stuff from here?
Well, he lives here.
Yeah,
Does he
lives
live
there.
here? I thought
here.
I didn't think he
He's
lived
the-
here.
He is the
Yeah.
dean of Florida International FAU or whatever over there, their space program, their school there.
Mm.
So he lives here now. He's being paid to live here.
Very cool. In this shot, some of you may have seen that Gavin did retweet this, and that's the only reason I saw it. But you've got Blue Origin over here, but you've also got either Miss Tree or Miss Chief right here under the sun.
Floating out there.
And yeah,
very
I'm
nice.
not sure Buzz actually realized that, because he says nothing about it in the tweet. He just says sunshine and launch pads. I think he was just trying to include the Blue Origin pad and the sun, not necessarily realizing that that is one of the fairing catchers right there. So,
Yeah, Buzz ended up being at the at Grills the next day after we had met Jim. I
right.
was like,
Yeah.
I want to go to Grills because Buzz is one of those guys I want to meet, man. I mean, he's a moonwalker, man.
Yeah.
I want to meet a moonwalker. So
Yeah. And I knew that he'd been around here a lot. I just didn't. I figured he was visiting a lot. So he's got a place,
Just
and
walking up and down the beach, and maybe you'll see him hanging out on his porch.
you could get an
Like,
idea, kind of an idea. I'm, not necessarily going to help you guys try to figure out where he lives, but I can see this picture and get some idea of where it is. I think,
Absolutely.
I think it's
Well,
Cape
if you go to the other
Canaveral.
ones, you can see he's on his porch, like you can
Oh, really? And actually see
what
the
porch-
perspective.
the
Yeah.
railings look like. You know? I mean, if you really want to track him down.
Yeah, if you really know what those like the balconies look like.
Yeah. If you
Um,
really want to creep Buzz Aldrin out.
well, it's a great shot, Buzz. It's a little slanted. It's always, friends don't let friends post slanted photos without pointing it out to them. You can do it and you can leave it up, but your friends point it out to you. Right? Am I right? It is slanted, right?
Well, at least he's got a decent cell phone, or he can clean the lens,
Yeah.
because most people
Yeah.
don't.
I think he's running that 12 out of Russia, bro.
Oh, yeah? You think he got early access on the 12th?
Oh yeah.
Somebody was telling me, you guys know Alicia,
Keys,
Alicia
don't know
Keys?
her.
no, she goes by Space Gal. She's got like the little coffee logo in her profile picture on Twitter with the little rocket coming out of it. I was talking to her today at the press site, and she was saying something about how the next iPhone is going to have these extra sensors to actually give you an exposure meter on, like, when you're like in the native camera app. And I'm wondering, first of all, if that's true. I mean, that I didn't press. I don't know if she's just like reading rumors or if this is
I mean,
actual.
that's all there is. There's rumors,
That's all there
so-
is right now. Yeah, because they haven't
Well, they
officially
haven't released
announced.
the phone, so
Yeah. But I think it would be really awesome if the next iPhone was natively able to shoot in RAW.
sometimes they find out that by the new operating system,
Mhm.
when someone goes through the code
Mhm.
and sees that that's there. But that might not be this phone. It could be another phone.
Yes, and
Maybe
that's
not
happened.
good.
And I remember
So-
back in the day, Apple had filed a patent to have like a screen where the like buttons could raise, like they'd have like a 3D touch screen. You know what I'm talking about? Like if
Yeah.
like say a keypad popped up on your screen and they could somehow like they had like a liquid layer in the screen that would raise up little bumps so that you could actually feel it as you're typing.
That's funky.
You know,
No,
they
I don't
patent
like
on
that
just
idea.
in case someone figures it out. They
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Go
Yeah.
after you.
That doesn't mean that they've figured it out because
No.
then that's
Someone came up with the idea.
that's one of the few things I know about patents. Is like you don't necessarily have to know how to do it. You just need to have the idea.
Like, who would have thought we would have foldable screens by now? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
that's something I didn't see coming 5 years ago. A foldable screen.
And how long have they been around? Are they still working well? Do they not have like
Yeah,
some
I
kind
guess
of
Samsung came out with another one. The first one had some issues, but
yeah?
I guess there's another version out.
No, Windows have
But they're
one
like
too.
$2,400. I'm not paying that for a phone.
No,
Hell
no,
no.
not never.
$1,000 is enough.
I'm not paying $1,000 for a phone either. I will get 2 generations back because I'm a cheap guy.
Yeah. I'm not one that has to have like the newest all the time, but I do like to have. I don't like to be more than like 2 years behind on my iPhones, just because usually the cameras are what gets improved the most, and you know it's a camera in your pocket.
That's true. That's true. The camera and the screen are the only 2 things they've really improved on those phones.
Yeah, Seth said though the exposure metering is all in the software wide anyways, right? Software side. I would think so. So yeah, I'm not sure. I would be happy with them just, putting some more manual controls, like just putting full manual controls in there, whatever they can do. I know they can't, well, supposedly, if I understand it right, they can't adjust the aperture. It's a fixed aperture. So the only thing you can really adjust is your shutter speed and your ISO. Well, that'd be fine too. And I know there's apps that can do it, but then you've got to export to the camera roll, and it's this whole thing. I would rather it just be built into the phone. All right, enough about that. Who wants to go to space for a reality show?
Me, I do.
I want to go to space, but not for a reality show.
Actually, it's only the winner of this reality show.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So Deadline. A lot of people were posting this. I first found this in the SpaceX subreddit, and then I saw that Supercluster had shared it. So I don't guess I've ever heard of this website, Deadline.com, but apparently there's going to be a reality show called Space Hero, or at least they're working on trying to create this thing. Let's see, Space Hero Inc., a U.S.-based production company founded by Thomas Reamer and Deborah Sass and led by former News Corp Europe chief Marty Pompadour.
Yes.
Has secured a seat on a 2023 mission to the International Space Station. It will go to a contestant chosen through an unscripted show titled Space Hero. So apparently they've already booked the seat for 2023.
I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, the capability's been out there.
Yeah, the article does talk about how they've tried a couple iterations of this. They were gonna they were gonna send a winner on Virgin Galactic Spaceship 2. I was gonna say Spaceship Unity, but what had happened was they had the test failure that killed a pilot, and so that kind of yeah.
So what is the show? They're gonna do like just
I'm
watch
assuming
it,
they're
trying
going to
be
put
an
these people
astronaut?
through like super space camp
Yeah, and just film it.
and film it for posterity.
Yeah, and I hope they don't do the what's it called? Is it a gyro machine? The thing that like flips you every
Oh yeah,
every which way
that
over
guy.
there? Well,
That's the multi-axis simulator.
there you go. They should not do that because it was only, I think it was only Alan Shepard and Gus Grissom that had to go through that. I think it was just the first two, and then after that, everybody else was just like, we don't need that.
Yeah.
we don't want to do that.
Yeah, but they kept it in because it's fun for the kiddies.
Well, not in real astronaut training though, right?
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah,
do that.
no.
But like if you go to
Like,
space camp, it's still a thing.
yeah, space camp is still a thing. Like when I went in second grade, it was still a thing. I loved that.
Maybe watch them all go on the vomit comet.
Yeah, I'd like to try it, but I don't think it should be a part of. Well, I don't know. It's basically a game show. They're gonna make you do the worst
they're
stuff.
trying to they're trying to make money on it. It's a great publicity stunt, and if they pull it off and they actually send someone to space, that's the commercialization of space is the desired outcome of having so many readily available launchers. So
Right.
I'm all
And
for it.
also, that's going to be introducing the reality TV show crowd to being interested in space.
Mhm.
Absolutely, it's going to bring
True.
more butts in seats who pay congressmen to do jobs.
Exactly.
Yep.
That is the goal.
Well, if they're not hurting themselves, it's gonna not a lot of audience is gonna watch.
If
gotta
they're
have,
not
like,
hurting themselves.
Big balls, you gotta throw at people. You gotta fall into water. You gotta jump over fake lava.
There's got to be
Yeah.
some cutthroat drama
Yeah.
going on. So and so
Yeah.
doesn't like so
Are
and
they
so
gonna throw
very
them in
much.
a
No,
room
it's
with no oxygen for
unscripted.
10 seconds and see how long they survive?
Yeah,
How much
unscripted,
they
but they're
freak
not
out.
talking about how awfully they can edit it to make people seem like the victim or the perpetrator or anything. They can make anything happen that even if it didn't happen, it happened.
Yeah. Well, yeah, unscripted, but definitely not unproduced.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what I understand, like if something's not exciting enough, then producers step in and be like, "Hey, why don't you say this?" Or like, "Did you know that so and so said this?" And then they try to set them off to.
They're gonna have the dumb person, the smart person, the klutzy person, the one that says inappropriate things.
Yeah.
You got to have a jock.
I'm not here to make friends.
The grumpy person.
Someone has to say that.
Oh man.
I'm here to go to space.
Yeah. But apparently they're booking this through Axiom, which is kind of neat because Axiom is the company that is building the private space station. They're going to start out with having a module on the International Space Station, right?
Yes.
And apparently that's where this contestant, the winner, is going to stay.
They want to develop a space hotel,
Mhm.
and this is their first step. So they've booked out a room at their space hotel.
Yep. Now they still have to get that space hotel up there. Like they
Yes.
don't have a module yet on.
No, they do not. It's still in developmental phases. I think they've built like prototypes, but I don't think they've like filled it out yet.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at Stephanie. She
I-
had a show
That's
name.
an excellent suggestion, Stephanie.
Stephanie had a suggestion. It is big balls you got to throw at people for the show title.
That is
Oh man,
beautiful.
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, they want to develop a hotel. They've sold they've booked the room for like a week at least.
It's 10 days. Yeah, the winner gets to go to the space station for 10 days.
Absolutely, I would jump on that, dude.
Is it gonna be buffet?
Sure. Just as long as you're okay with eating out of a squeeze bottle.
Yeah, right. Buffet freeze food.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the freeze-dried ice cream you want.
Mm-hmm.
Now
They don't actually have in space.
I did read through the article and I didn't see anything about like where to apply. I mean, I'm going to assume that like half the people we know are going to apply for this thing.
Yeah. It sounds like it's real early development. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I think
it's
and it may not
It'll come
happen. But if they've actually booked a seat for 2023, then that's like the most expensive part, I would think. I mean, that you're talking millions there, and I don't think most reality shows are
I don't
in
know
the
if
millions.
I'm up to date with everything, but do you have to take any kind of NASA test or something to go? Or you just
They
spend
are
money and go?
saying that for them to go to the space station as not pilots or anything, they don't need any specialized training other than just general making sure they're physically fit to go
That's
to
it?
space.
What happens in
That
like an
is it.
emergency situation? They just got this one dum dum doesn't know what to do. He's like, "Ugh."
Exactly. That's what it's.
No help
that's
to
what it's going to
anybody?
break down to. We used to have that on the submarine. We would call them mouth breathers
Ah,
or daywalkers. We would call them daywalkers because they would sleep normal hours while we were underway, and they would only be awake during your daytime hours. And the rest of the submariners are living an 18-hour day.
Oh,
So, yeah.
I'd say if I was an astronaut and they come on, I'd be very pissed off.
They are going to be segregated to that specific module. They can't go into the rest of the ISS like just on their own. They would have to be escorted if they were to see the rest of the ISS. So they're going to go to that one module. They're going to hang out there. It's basically going to be like an okay hotel room in space.
They got to be able to sneak over to the cupola. I mean, otherwise, what's the point?
I'm sure
unless maybe the module.
I'm sure that the ISS proper will be part of that package, that you can take like a tour of it, and definitely cupola would be part of that. But I think they're also designing their own version of the cupola. From what I heard, it's going to be like twice the size.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. All right. I'll just chill in there and stare out the window.
Me and Daryl both out. Yeah, we're not physically fit.
Yeah.
So we're not making it.
What are you talking about, Daryl?
Well, no, they just want to make sure you don't have like any like heart defects that like you don't know anything about, and like
I got heart palpitations. I'm definitely out.
Make sure. Well,
there is
take vitamin E. You can pull a Slayton, dude.
Definitely
just take a bunch of vitamin E.
It'll definitely be a screening process, and I'd be interested to see how much of like the acclimating they show. Because from what I understand,
the first 2 days is going to be awful.
Yeah, the first couple of days are always really bad. Like it doesn't matter, you know, how if you've never been seasick in your life, apparently you get it those first couple of days, and it's miserable.
Yeah, no, I've heard it's really, really bad for 48 hours. But if you stick it out for those 48 hours, it's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and it's only 10 days, so coming back probably isn't too bad. You probably still have to do the 2 hours, you know, of
you
exercise
probably need
every
more
day.
you'd have to do the 2 hours of exercise every day, but you wouldn't have like an acclimation period. Like you'd be able to get up and walk around on the first day.
Yeah.
Totally.
2 hours exercise, I'm definitely out.
I mean, look at what the space shuttle, like astronauts from the space shuttle, they would walk off of the space shuttle after they came out of space for being there 14 days.
Yeah.
So 10 days in space, you'll be fine.
Well, Bob and Doug, they were there for 2 months, and they walked. I mean, you could tell that it was not easy, but they were able to walk themselves off the plane, and then they sat down in those chairs for that press briefing.
No, Bob and Doug was looking, homeboys was looking rough.
Yeah.
You could tell.
That's not a fun experience coming back to Earth, from what I hear.
Yeah.
Well, also you're coming back to Earth and a piece of equipment no one's ever
flown in. Yeah, that's true.
And then being stuck there because of some yahoos in their boats, and then like a potential leak and all that jazz.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I wouldn't say, because Apollo splashed down in the ocean too. So
yeah.
And
they would be gone for what, 2 weeks at a time?
You know, when they were talking about, you know, the like prior to launch, they would bring up, you know, not really looking forward to the splashdown and being in the water because of seasickness, and I was like, what? I mean, you're only going to be there a little bit, but I can imagine if you're in zero gravity and then your next experience of gravity is bobbing up and down in the ocean. That can't be fun.
And Bob and Doug were actually stuck in the Crew Dragon for a while.
Quite a while.
Yeah, they were in there for a long time.
All those freaking idiots who showed up and made it more complicated for the workers.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. We got stuff to go through here.
We do.
What was some of the early Gemini? I can't even talk. Gemini,
or Jiminy if you're old school.
Didn't like the first couple or something, they basically bolted the hatch on, and they had to come unbolt the hatch. So imagine how long that took.
They actually, I think, had to it took a while. It took a long time to unbolt that hatch, from what I recall.
Yeah.
I have been listening to The Space Above Us. Excellent podcast. Goes through like each individual NASA human space flight.
Really?
Yes, it's beautiful. Flight by flight. Each flight gets its own episode, all the way back to the very first flight.
How many are there?
One, he is currently on STS-47.
Okay, but it started with the beginning with Mercury?
Yes.
Wow.
He actually started with a pre-Mercury episode going over like Yuri Gagarin and the monkeys going to space, and then he led into Mercury Friendship 7.
Oh, Daryl said he also listens to that show and he loves that podcast.
That is an excellent podcast. I've been listening to that one, and I've been listening to Supermassive podcast from the Royal Astronomy Society.
Right on. Which this reminds me, this is our 52nd episode. And so since we missed the 50th episode, and then last week I forgot to mention that we forgot to mention the 50th episode, we'll call this our year's worth of episodes show. Yay!
Happy anniversary, everybody.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Yes. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. There you go.
If
All right.
we were doing that, I would have had a happy birthday song.
Yeah, I don't know what day we actually started, but it was sometime, I think,
I looked it
September.
up last time.
What was it?
Heck yeah. Phosphine.
Speaking of going over missions real quick, if anybody has Netflix, Challenger has just come out. It's 4 episodes.
Yeah.
It is very, very good.
I'll be having that. Yeah, I'll definitely be watching that.
I've seen stuff on there I have not seen before.
Oh, really?
I did not know when they actually recovered the Challenger that they actually recovered the piece of the Challenger that said Challenger on it from the ocean floor. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did not know that. I'm telling you, I saw stuff in this documentary that I've never seen before. It's fantastic. It's only 4 episodes. Each episode is like 40 minutes long, 44 minutes long, except for the last episode, which is like 52 minutes long. Fantastic.
Yeah, this one was one of my favorite things I saw this week, that the Atlantis actually was flying with Challenger's body flap.
Yeah.
And
speaking of Challenger,
yeah. I was going to bring this up at the end, but if you're talking about Challenger, I thought this was super awesome. Chris G shared this photo. Challenger launches with Atlantis body flap, and he's got it circled. If you're, I'm sorry if you're only listening to the audio, but we're looking at a picture of it. It is just like a piece of Challenger that flew on Atlantis. Let's see, an issue with Challengers prompted NASA to swap them to keep Challenger flying. So this is before the disaster that they actually put this on there on Atlantis, but they never switched back. And so Atlantis flew with Challenger's body flap its entire career, and a piece of Challenger flew to the end of the program. Because if you don't know, Atlantis was the last shuttle to fly. So Challenger was flying with Atlantis the entire time. That's super interesting. I didn't know that. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I didn't know that they would swap pieces of shuttles.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The pieces were interchangeable between all of them. And I was actually, when I first saw this picture, was in the Fallen Astronauts Facebook group. And a lot of the people who worked on the shuttle program were like, oh, yeah, this part was on this one and this part was on this one. So there was a lot of the interchangeability of parts between the 5 that were commissioned.
I think the flight decks were different, right? Like they'll talk about the different shuttles and how the older shuttles were this one way, but the newer ones had a different kind of a button layout or whatever.
They had a different layout of the actual crew quarters, but when it came to actual like components of the shuttle itself, like they were very interchangeable.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Venus. So a very exciting announcement, although.
Yeah, you are.
Every time I talk about I think of that dumb commercial for Gillette. That's what that's from.
Oh. So if you're like me, that you probably need the explanation. They said phosphine. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Apparently, it's a chemical that's not only produced by life, but as far as like how we understand it, it's mostly produced by life in the concentrations that they managed to find it in Venus. They also said that it is created on Jupiter and Saturn under intense pressure. Like I know that Venus has crazy pressure at the surface, but Jupiter and Saturn way more.
Yeah, way more.
And the concentrations that they were able to find it at on Venus kind of match up with what we would expect life to do, right? What do you got, Matt?
What we understand. So essentially, what you would call exoplanetary biologists or astrobiologists, there is a fairly large group of them that understood that phosphine was a marker for life, because we don't know of a whole lot of geological processes or morphological processes that don't require these tremendous amounts of pressures that will create phosphine. Now, phosphine it's a phosphor and hydrogen in an atom,
phosphate,
right?
Right?
Yeah.
Is it phosphate? Phosphor.
It's phosphor.
Oh, okay. That's the element?
Phosphor.
Is that like the periodic table
Yes.
element? Okay.
Yes, phosphor.
Mixed with what?
And hydrogen.
And hydrogen. Okay. Which Jupiter and Saturn have plenty of.
Yes, they do, and that's also
but
because they're
Venus
gas
doesn't,
giants.
right? Isn't that the thing, that Venus doesn't have all that
Venus,
hydrogen?
Yeah, it doesn't have all that hydrogen. It shouldn't, from our understanding, have this much phosphine in its atmosphere.
Yeah, it's definitely possible that we'll end up discovering a new method by which phosphine can be made. But
absolutely, and the Royal Astronomical Society, who actually put this information out on the 16th, 14th.
Yeah, 14th. Yeah.
I see it there. They put this information out on the 14th. They put it at the very top of the thing. This doesn't necessarily mean life. This just means we don't understand why we found this. It's an interesting thing that we found. We don't understand it yet.
Right. This is an interesting fact sheet that I found from parabolicarc.com. It's just kind of like quick questions and like kind of just a quick overview. So what has been discovered? A molecule called phosphine has been detected in the atmosphere of the planet Venus. Why is it interesting? The amount of phosphine that's been detected is relatively large. On Earth, phosphine can result from natural processes such as lightning and volcanic activity, but only in small amounts. The only known processes that produce phosphine on Earth in similar quantities are biological in origin. Does that mean there's life on Venus? No. And it's bold, see? It's bold. What's exciting is that this is the first detection of a possible sign of life for which we have no plausible alternative explanation. That doesn't mean that there's definitely life, as we could be missing some other method of producing phosphine in the required amounts, but it's a very exciting possibility which needs more investigation. How was it detected? Observations from the light passing through the atmosphere of Venus were made using the James Clerk Maxwell Telescope in Hawaii. Atoms and molecules absorb light at very specific and unique wavelengths, and the resulting absorption spectrum revealed a gap in the wavelength of phosphine. This implies that phosphine was present and absorbing light as it passed through the atmosphere. Oh, yeah, I like this one. Are you sure it's phosphine? Yes. Confirmation was obtained by making further observations with the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array in Chile. This confirmed the initial detection, and no other known molecule can explain the observed features. I'm trying to figure out a place to stop, but every question is a good one. What else could have produced it? Processes such as lightning or volcanic activity can produce small amounts of phosphine on Earth. The molecule can also be delivered by meteorites or generated by exotic processes such as interaction with the solar wind. However, these only produce very small amounts, far less than what would be necessary to explain the observations. All right, so I'll stop there. So basically, we need to go and scoop up some atmosphere from Venus. It'd be cool if we could somehow rig up something with a detection device that could do it like in situ, like without having to bring a sample back. Obviously, scientists would much rather have the sample. But that's a lot of delta V. Like getting to Venus is hard enough. Getting back is
that's a tough cookie to crack.
Yeah,
it's
like twice as hard. It's like if you've ever played Kerbal, you need just as much delta V to get home as you do to get where you're going.
True story.
But if you've been paying attention, and we talked about this last week, Rocket Lab had an exciting announcement about their Photon spacecraft. It's a kick stage. It's basically, they've been using it as basically a third stage on their Electron rocket. They mount the satellite to it, and then any extra little boost that they need right at the end of flight, that's what they use. Well, now they've been setting it up so that people can use the actual kick stage itself to mount instruments on. If you need a satellite but you want it cheap, and you want to have it launched in a timely manner, you don't want to be waiting years. Like, you're probably going to wait at least a year, but you may not have to wait 5 or 10 years to get something launched. And that came like just days before this, and Peter Beck mentioned that he is interested in doing a private mission to Venus.
Oh, he's totally into Venus.
So my question is he saying that he's willing to fund this if they can get their instruments together?
I don't know. Like I've floated the idea to you guys that someone needs to donate a few $1 million to MIT or to the Royal Academy of Sciences to develop just the instrumentation they need to study this one specific question about the phosphine, and get that instrumentation made, make it small enough, and do just a flyby of Venus, a dip into the atmosphere. If he's willing to front the money, yeah, I hope he's listening. Mr. Beck, please give someone the money who will do this.
I mean, he's there. He's one of the lurkers. He's one of the viewers that
I'm sure.
Yeah. I did grab this video. So they did their like press release or press briefing online the day that they made this announcement, and someone did ask about the possibility of getting with Rocket Lab and making this happen. So here's this just quick video of it.
Now about Rocket Lab, yeah, they want to go to Venus. We have been talking to them. They're amazing to be so flexible. And Rocket Lab's spacecraft would only be about 15 kilograms, and they would reserve about 3 kilograms or so for a payload. So we have to work hard to make sure an instrument that would be useful for the search for life will fit into that payload, and we're really looking forward to it.
Beautiful. So they got to get it down to 3 kilograms.
Yes.
And I believe the tweet was here. Let me see. Yeah. Professor Sarah Seeger has been talking to Rocket Lab. They would have a spacecraft that's about 15 kilograms, so your payload would have to be about 3 kilograms. Quite a challenge, but exciting that they're thinking about it. So, hey Siri, convert 3 kilograms into pounds.
6.6 pounds.
Oh, okay. I thought it went the other way. I thought that it would be like 1 pound.
No, okay. 6.6 pounds. So something the size of a very, very light, like kiddie bowling ball.
That seems a lot more possible, right? I mean, think about.
It's small, but I mean, like I said earlier before the show, that you could fit a sniffer in that. Like a Draeger tube only weighs about 10 grams.
Yeah. Yeah, they could totally
find a way to put a Draeger up there with a video camera on it. That's all you really need. So develop the Draeger. You need to first develop, see what is the phosphine. Is it really phosphine? And then figure out what you want to know. What other chemical that would say, hey, this is life.
Right.
We need to look for. Suck both of them in. Video camera shoots it back. Hey, there's your whole mission right there.
Yeah, if they could have a microscope on board, if they could,
a tiny one.
Yeah, put the sample under the microscope, take some pictures, send it back.
Just send the SLS out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Excellent segue.
Right, we go. You've got Electron, which is maybe 10 to 20 million to get this done, and then you've got SLS, which is $1 billion.
We've wasted enough money. Waste some more.
Oh God, no.
But
that's such a bad
the
way
problem
of
is who's
thinking
going to pay for it? But with Seth said SLS Block 2. Would it have to be SLS Block 2? Surely not to get that, to get the same amount of payload. But to be able to get it back, that's what we're talking about. Same amount of payload, but the ability to get it back.
You would need the SLS Block 2. Or, Starship Super Heavy.
Yeah, there you go. That would work. I
think just Starship could get it done.
Yeah. Oh, not Starship by itself. You got to have Super Heavy.
You'd have to have some kind of boosters, like whether it be Super Heavy or some kind of solids they develop.
Well, I think Elon said that if Starship itself was totally empty, it could just barely make orbit. Basically, you need Super Heavy to be able to do anything interesting.
Yeah.
But that's another option. And I think Rocket Lab said that they're planning like 2023 to do this Venus mission. So that gives them enough time to go ahead and get everything together. What are you laughing at?
Gillette could give them some money too.
Wait, what are you laughing at? I feel like you're reading chat. Can I get a Matthew Jordan voice variant of Siri?
I'll jump right on that, brother.
Yeah. We just need you to read this Bible's worth of stuff to get. All right, let's see what else. I think there was something else. Oh no, it's just yeah. So that's Venus. Yeah, life on Venus. Let's go. Let's see. It was last week that I was hoping that right at show start, Astra was going to be launching. They ended up scrubbing that day, and they went. Was it the next day? It was the 11th. So here's a little clip of them going vertical. Now, all of the photography and video stuff you see is done by our good friend John Krause, who they've been flying out for each of these attempts. It doesn't always say, but he's the only photographer out there, as far as I know. And I've talked to him, and he said it's just him and the crew out at the pad. So all this stuff is all John Krause. Okay, so here's it going vertical. And then here's a beautiful liftoff shot.
It's so little.
It is, yeah, it's very little. Yeah, look at them. Like I think it might be smaller than Electron.
That's like a micro rocket.
Yeah. And well, and the idea, in case, I don't know if we've talked about it, but maybe you haven't heard other episodes, but the idea behind Astra is they want to be like a totally mobile launch option. Obviously, there's only, you can't just launch from the middle of a neighborhood, but they want to be able to launch from just about anywhere on the planet and fit all of their gear inside a couple of semi-trucks. And that's what they've done. I
talked to Russia, didn't they do that back in the Cold War?
Did they? Like orbital?
Didn't they have the ICBMs?
Yeah, but I don't.
Launchers.
Yeah, they were ICBMs though. Like those were out in the middle of nowhere to.
I thought they had some on mobile though.
And are they intended to reach orbit?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know if this is a first necessarily. I mean, I really don't.
The development of a completely mobile actual orbital launcher, that is a first, I would say.
Yeah.
Like as mobile as they want to make this thing, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a first.
That's not intended for attack.
That's not intended for like awful purposes, but for peaceful purposes. Like putting this Zimbabwean satellite in orbit from Zimbabwe.
Oh yeah.
Or something like that, like not that's not necessarily something they're doing, but that's the kind of idea. Like they want to be able to ship this thing to any country that wants to launch something into orbit.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving right along, we have this video of the launch. This will have to be one of John Krause's videos as well. Make sure that volume ain't crazy. It's awesome. It takes off pretty quick, right? I mean, it's got kind of a long startup, but once it goes, it definitely goes. And their video cuts off. So if you don't know, spoiler alert. Yeah, see, their video cuts off right there. Because about 30 seconds into flight, they had to command an abort. That's the way they put it. They commanded the abort, and that tells me that it wasn't an automatic thing. Like it started to veer off course, and then they commanded an abort. And there is a video. This gentleman, Eric von Dongen, I guess lives out there. I bet this it's had to be pretty exciting for a local because. I mean, I know they do launch things from Alaska, but it's not very often, right? But let's check out his video. All right, I'll skip ahead because this is the part we've already seen. Oh, let me back it up. Okay. So there you see it. The engine's cut off.
Wow.
And he kind of drifts away.
Just falls back down.
Yeah. Now, there was talk, there were a lot of questions that I saw on Facebook and on Twitter, like, what about the self-destruct? Why didn't it explode? My assumption is just because you terminate flight doesn't necessarily mean you need to blow the thing up. Because
no, I just meant I was just surprised it didn't blow it. So.
because of like the aerodynamic stuff, like it's going so fast.
Whoa.
And as long as I guess nothing's in its path, you know, instead of having one gigantic thing fall down, if you split it into thousands, it might be less. I don't know.
I would think that it would be preferred to have it all come down in one piece. Yeah. You know, if they can, like as long as there's
your house,
as long as there's nobody in danger, it's probably better to just cut the engines and have it fall down as one piece. That way, everything's right there. You need to do your investigation. You know, at this point, you know, when this is happening, this is all happening in real time, and they may not necessarily know what the issue is. And they want to get all the evidence they can. So to keep it all intact is much better because, you know, it's going to make a little crater right there, but all your pieces are going to be pretty much together as opposed to if it blew up in flight, then all that stuff's going to – you're muted, Matt. All that stuff's going to drift down. And
of course, centralized instead of a debris field.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do they have any way to vent fuel so it's not – as much of an explosion?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I think that would just cause more issues.
What? I just figured we got that time to release quite a bit of fuel.
Yeah,
but then you're releasing all that fuel directly into the environment as like a rain of whatever their fuel is.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming RP1.
I'm pretty sure it's RP1, yeah.
Yeah, like that. You don't want to touch that stuff.
Daryl said it came apart on the way down, too. I'm not seeing anything fall off. I mean, I'm sure that there's little bits falling off. I'm not seeing anything falling off of there. But, you know, I'm sure some pieces did. But they kept it mostly intact.
They had some ejecta from the explosion, and that's probably all the debris field they had. It would have been much greater if they had blown it up in midair. That debris field would have gone for a few miles.
Right. And, you know, I think that it's kind of impressive how they've been about this. Like, let's see. Oh, this is just another video. I think the one that we just showed I think that's the best video. Is that the one that you were referring to, Cutshaw?
Yeah.
That's the best one, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I shared that one on Twitter.
Yeah. So Elon, you know, he tweeted at him. I thought that was pretty cool. You know, he's sorry to hear that they had failed their launch. He said, "I'm sure you'll figure it out. Took us 4 launches to reach orbit. Rockets are hard." And then Astra thanked him for that. We appreciate that and are encouraged by the progress we made today on our first of 3 flights on our way to orbit. That I thought was interesting because I didn't know that they had 3 flights planned to, you know, in an attempt to reach orbit. So that's good. They've got a little bit of a margin. They didn't have to succeed on this first one. They may not have even expected to, you know. So what it was, there was an oscillation in the flight path. It was, you know, kind of doing a back and forth thing, which I think maybe I can find that in the video. I think you can actually see it. Right before engine shutdown. Let's see. Yeah. It looks like you can kind of see it looks like it's trying to find its way, and then they say it's just getting too off.
Far off.
Yeah, too far off its path. Yeah.
Like how much momentum it already had that just kept going.
It kept flying up
before gravity took effect.
Right. Okay, and then what Michael Baylor said, he was the one that kind of informed everybody. I'm assuming he's taking it from this blog, but I'm not 100% on that. Astra says early engine shutdown was due to a commanded abort as the rocket had drifted outside its planned trajectory due to guidance oscillations. So there you go. So it was having issues with its guidance. But they'll get it, I think, hopefully. You know, they got another attempt. They said that the next attempt, the rocket for the next attempt is just about complete. So we may see another attempt here in the next month or so.
Absolutely. I enjoy seeing the young rocket startups. I enjoy celebrating their successes. I enjoy seeing their failures and then seeing them bounce back. That's kind of how you sift out the men from the boys or the wheat from the chaff when it comes to the who's going to make it and who's really not, like who can persist through their failure kind of thing, because every rocket company is going to have failure. NASA had 1 million failures before they put Alan Shepard into orbit,
Right,
or suborbital, right? So it happens.
Yeah,
but you get up, you bounce back.
Yeah, and there's a lot of small launch companies that are starting up, and not all of them are going to make it. And look, Astra just had their first attempt. We haven't seen an attempt from Firefly or Relativity.
No.
Right? They have pads supposedly. Is it Firefly and Relativity are both supposed to launch from here?
I know Firefly for sure.
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about Relativity, but I know Firefly has a pad here and Vandenberg.
I think the big thing about Relativity is it's a completely 3D printed rocket, right? So, hey, Astra's a little ahead of the game. They've had an attempt at least. Okay, so the launch that's not going to happen tomorrow, and obviously did not happen today, one of the most interesting bits of it is that one of its fairing halves has already supported 2 missions. So this will be the first time that a fairing half flies for the 3rd time. So that's pretty exciting. Now, speaking of Starlink, it turns out, you remember the video we watched last week of what was possibly some Starlink satellites coming in? Well, the people who watch these things very closely have been seeing the very first batch of Starlinks coming down. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Like, look at this chart. Like, all of these lines that go down, those are all individual Starlink satellites that have been deorbited. So apparently they're in the process of deorbiting the version 0.9, which were probably never intended to be part of the final constellation anyway. They were just...
It was a tester.
Yeah, just test stuff. Let's see. But in the same right, look at OneWeb. OneWeb is boosting satellites to higher orbits. So there's somebody there in the office that's doing something. Even though they filed bankruptcy, I think that, they're going to still try to survive. Did somebody buy them out? I can't remember.
The last I heard was Bezos was giving them a good hard look.
But he's got his own thing, right? What is his called? Kuiper?
Well, that he
or
wants...
Kepler. What is it called?
Kepler.
Okay.
And he wants what they're going to be able to deliver to him in one fell swoop. So, I mean, if he were smart, he would buy them and turn them into Kepler.
Yeah. Or figure out a way to integrate them into his stuff.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if they've already got the infrastructure, they're already building satellites, why not just come on in? Unless there's something inherently flawed with their design, he thinks he can do better. Just use what they already have up, because they've got 2 launches worth. They were doing 35 or so with each launch.
This is 3 weeks ago. Bankrupt OneWeb gets FCC approval for another 1,200 broadband satellites.
Oh, okay.
So they are still operating. They filed bankruptcy, which is...
It doesn't always...
Yeah,
it doesn't always mean the failure of a company just because they filed bankruptcy.
It just means they can't pay their bills right now, but they're going to try to pay them.
Yeah. Now, when you play Wheel of Fortune, if you go bankrupt, then... Well, you don't even lose there. You still get to keep playing. You just lose your money. Another interesting thing...
Kickstarter.
This was reported by Michael Sheets. He's with CNBC. He's like the space guy for CNBC. SpaceX asked FCC yesterday if it can add 10 Starlink user terminals to its fleet of ships to further test the end-to-end capabilities of its satellite system, including on drone ships the company uses to land its Falcon rocket boosters at sea. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think I remember us speculating, are they using Starlink to get these much better videos. The live footage has been so much better here lately.
It has been.
Yep.
But if they're just now asking for permission, that means they're not using Starlink to do that.
They weren't using Starlink yet, no.
So I think that's interesting. That Michael Sheets took a screenshot of the most important part. This is in the request to the FCC. In order to expand its assessment of the end-to-end capabilities of its satellite system, SpaceX seeks authority to test these user terminals on seagoing platforms for a period of up to 2 years. Specifically, SpaceX proposes to deploy a total of 10 Earth stations across up to 10 vessels, including 2 autonomous spaceport drone ships used to land rocket boosters at sea. So that, to me, says that they're going to probably try to equip the entire fleet with these, right?
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. That I mean, it answers a question that I had, which was, are they using Starlink to get this footage? Which the answer is no there. But also, would it work? And I think that they have some idea that it would work.
I mean, that's what the system is designed for, like in the deserts, at sea, places where there's no way you can connect a wire to yourself.
Cruise ships use satellite internet.
Yeah, they use Inmarsat.
Yeah, and I went on a cruise a couple years ago, and I got like top speed was like 30 megs down, which is I was pretty impressed on a cruise ship. And
Really?
how many people are on that? And I was getting 30 megs.
30? I didn't think that you could. I guess. Well, no, those are they're options. Yeah, because we talk about like HughesNet. And to get like 1 meg down is like $100 a month or something. But I guess there are options to go higher.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if it's probably still in the history, but I just remember that the latency, whatever, the ping was like 200 plus milliseconds.
Oh. So you're not playing Rocket League on that?
No. I tried to do a voice call through Skype and didn't work out too well.
No?
Nope. I did a phone call. You know when you're on Wi-Fi with the iPhone,
The VoIP call.
You go Wi-Fi. That worked decently fine, but video no.
So I think it's interesting that these dishes, or maybe there's a different kind of dish, but the only dish that we've seen, I think it's interesting that it would be able to adjust quickly enough to the.
They're not using that. It's gonna be something.
You think it'll be something else?
Quicker.
A different kind of antenna.
Specifically designed for that, because they got it. They're gonna want to sell the cruise ships and, all kinds of vessels. So I'm sure they're developing one for sea.
So it's gonna.
It's got to move quicker for the pitch the boat and all that. I'm sure they're doing it.
We'll lay down the gauntlet right here. First person to get a picture of that Starlink antenna on a drone ship, you win.
More likely it's going to be a dome.
Yeah.
So if you see a new dome pop up on there, so that way the salt air doesn't get to and all that. That's
to me, it'll be like take a high res panorama of the drone ships and let the smart people spot it. Because I can't spot differences. I don't look at pictures of them enough that, I can tell when they're like stacking up new crates or whatever. But like Gavin and Julia and people, I don't know, I guess look at way more pictures than I do are good. I provide the photo. I'll let you guys figure out if there's something new on there.
Speaking of Starlink, I was doing some research on it, and they're using the 12 gigahertz band. Which is the KU band, which I saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
Some article had. But it's highly acceptable to rain fade, which is going to be bad in Florida.
Oh, like the signal gets worse if it's raining, you mean?
Yeah, it reflects in the water.
Yeah.
And mainly in most fronts that come in. Like if you ever had been at a bar, starts raining, all the TV starts saying no signal.
Oh, yeah.
But 11 gigahertz. They use 11 gigahertz.
Okay.
So that's going to happen. It's in Florida or where it rains
I mean,
a lot,
once again, people in Florida are not the primary people who will want to get Starlink.
Yeah.
People who are currently using Hughes or Hughes is their only option for internet, they're going to be wanting to use Starlink. Ships at sea, airplanes, they're going to want to use Starlink.
It rains
people
everywhere.
It rains everywhere, and rain fade is a thing, but I mean, they're developing further bands to use as well with the later generations of satellite.
Eric Schweikert in chat had a good point. Why do you need a special receiver when you have an entire constellation all over the sky? That's true. I mean, you don't need to be as accurate with your antenna pointing if you've got 20 above you at any given time.
What? Well,
that's why it's kind of shaped like a pizza box, because it's going to have like 120 degrees of like view in every direction. It's going to be great.
Well, so I kind of work in this field, so like
Yeah, you do.
so radio transmission. So they call lobes coming from.
I got them.
So there'll be the satellite.
Mine are attached lobes. It's a genetic thing they taught us in like early science classes, like second grade or whatever.
So I don't have paint, so I'm not doing that shit. But
wait, no, hey, you want paint? Here.
Yeah, but then I got to try to explain it to you.
Here's your
you
whiteboard.
can draw on the screen.
Do it now.
You can make your
I can
own.
do that right now.
Yeah, you can do it right now.
Draw right now.
Oh, this is gonna be bad. All right, so
oh wait, here. What you share? So you hit the share screen, and then one of the options will be whiteboard.
The host disabled.
Oh no. Hold on.
Hold on, folks. This is gonna be great.
Advanced. Who can share? All participants. Okay, you can share. Go. Do it.
All right.
It's a Keagle original right here.
Yes, we've got a new contender for.
Ooh. Oh, well, this is gonna be interesting. So
we have a new diagram.
So God, this is horrible.
That's yellow though.
It's
drawing the hand.
It's Homer Simpson's foot. Homer Simpson's foot.
Is it?
I mean, this isn't great. Well, it's
Mutagen Marge
the lobes-
Simpson.
There's going to be the strongest ones in the center, and then the signal dips, and then it goes up. So when that dish needs to be on that main lobe to have the best service, so that's why it needs to move. Yeah, it can get service, but it's
not as
gonna be
good.
Good,
right?
So if the dish can move to stay in that main lobe coming from that transceiver, then you're gonna get the best service.
Okay.
So that's why they move.
Right. To find the strongest.
The satellite, they're moving. It can move. It can keep up and stay in that main radio lobe.
Now, surely it's not going to be constantly like panning across the sky and then shoot. Got to switch back to another satellite.
Just
point
one's gonna
up.
Combine and just probably picks up on that.
Okay.
I don't know. Especially when you have what's the goal? How many's going to be up there?
The starting number is 12,000.
yeah.
Last number I heard was 48,000.
So it's not going to have to move a lot.
Yeah. There's going to be plenty.
Pick up on another stronger signal.
It's going to have so many signals hitting it. Signals.
Probably have if you constantly ran a ping on it, I bet you when someone does have it up, you'll probably see it. The ping goes up, the ping goes down, the ping.
You can't explain that.
Huh?
The ping goes up, the ping goes down. You can't explain that.
Well, I'm just saying that's losing a little bit of signals.
Somebody
back.
in chat gets it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that.
It's a Bill O'Reilly joke. Tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that.
Yeah, I guess it was. They did look like a turkey hand drawing.
Okay.
I'm no artist.
Look, they're not supposed to be good. That's why people love them. What is next? Oh, that was the Challenger thing. Okay, so what's the last thing? Oh, yes, we have a new date.
Oh, I didn't even see this. I've been at the grind all day, so I'm just now seeing this with my eyeballs.
For a little while.
Yeah,
it's been 26 for a couple days, Matt.
Yeah,
Calm down.
But we didn't have the time though.
That was only Tori. Tori was the one that said that we didn't have a time. The ULA didn't actually say anything.
Right.
This is the first time I'm seeing this with these two here.
Yeah.
Of a time and from ULA themselves.
That's a much smaller launch window.
And what's interesting is I believe it was Nathan Barker who tweeted like the I don't know, the hazard times or whatever it is. It's one of those super boring information sheets that has the times for when there's hazardous operations, and the window started at 12:01 each successive day. So they're not doing the 4 minutes earlier. Like it needs to be 12:01 a.m. I don't know why.
That's cool with me.
Yeah, it's fine. It's early enough that it's not so crazy. But yeah, it's only 12:01 to 1:35 a.m. But that also clears something up where when they said the 26th, I was like, okay, so what was the time it was supposed to be if it was on the 17th? Because it had been getting 4 minutes earlier each day, which means 28 minutes earlier every 7 days. And so is this going to be, because 26 is a Saturday, is this going to be Saturday night or Saturday morning, which to most of us is Friday night?
Yeah. That's seeming like Friday night to me, man.
Yeah, it's definitely Friday night. So that's good. That helps with scheduling purposes.
Yep.
So hopefully,
I gotta go drink all day after that.
Oh no, you poor thing.
At Busch Gardens.
Oh man. They don't even have the Clydesdales anymore, dude.
Well, yeah, because Anheuser-Busch doesn't own it anymore.
That's a true story. It's InBev now.
They just kept the name.
Well, yeah. It's a lot cheaper than changing all the sign.
I guess
it's
so.
very true.
Yeah.
Rebranding is expensive.
Last time I was at Busch Gardens, which was like about 4 years ago, we went to the customer service desk for some reason, and I was like, "Do you guys still have the Clydesdales?" And she was like, "No, honey. We haven't had the Clydesdales for years."
The stables are still there. Well, that was a couple years ago.
Well, they used it for the cheetah hunt. They had a display that had a cheetah and its dog. That was where the Clydesdales used to be.
Okay. See, I remember going when I was real young, and the Clydesdales were one of the most memorable parts of it. I mean, the Clydesdales are massive. They're so
they are
big.
The most ginormous horse.
Back in, I guess it was in the late 90s when I went. Somehow I went a 9th grade field trip. We went to Busch Gardens, but they used to have a brewery in the middle of the park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
And we took a tour of the brewery.
Yeah, they did. Used to be able to get free beer. I loved it.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't matter what age you were. Yeah, you know.
You could take the tour. You could see all the beer spilling on the
11,
ground.
12 years old. Hey, have a beer.
There you go. Starting your fun. I just want to know why Steel is not following NRO.
Am I not?
No, you're not.
Oh.
It says right there.
Bam.
Bam.
Done. Right here. Coming at you live, NRO. From Present for Flight. Hey. All right, so that's it. That's our. Well, we don't have a replacement date for Starlink, and I'm sure by the time anybody that's not watching live, when you hear this, probably there will be one. But in the tweet, actually, here I'll just do the tweet.
Got some heavy action though. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably still get Starlink before heavy. Yeah, standing down from tomorrow's launch of Starlink due to severe weather in the recovery area, which is likely to persist for a couple of days. So that tells me it may not even be this weekend.
I'm not thinking this weekend's gonna happen, brothers.
Yeah, it might be like Monday, Tuesday. Because
Monday, Tuesday sounds about right.
I was going to have up a map showing, because one of y'all pointed out that that Sally was crossing over like Georgia and was going back out to the Atlantic, right?
That was me.
Way to go, Matt. You did it.
Did I win?
You did.
Okay.
Yeah, so that probably has a lot to do with it. So hopefully, everybody out there's staying safe. We we need our fleet crew to be safe out there.
Absolute.
Yeah, so that's it. So probably Falcon 9, Starlink early in the week. They are definitely targeting Friday night, Saturday morning, 12:01 a.m. For Delta Heavy with NROL 44. So hopefully we'll get that. We'll at least hopefully have one launch between now and the next show. And by the way, you know what? I didn't even get to it. I asked Trevor if it was okay if I showed some of his footage. He took some really great footage of the recovery process for B-1060 after the last mission. Him and Kyle and Ken were out there watching all the activity. And man, when Trevor put that video out, I was like, oh man, he got some good footage of things that I had never seen, never got a good look at. One of the things in particular was the octograbber letting go of the booster. Just see those little clamps let go. I mean, if you're not into this stuff, it's who cares? But it was just super cool to see to see Octograbber let go. But anyway, I've been talking to him, and he's wanting to come on the show, but when I asked him about coming on tonight, he said, why don't we wait until Enroll actually launches, and then he'll come on after that. So that's what we'll be looking forward to with Trevor Malman. And we'll talk some photography stuff. Maybe he'll have some tips after the fact of how to catch that the flame ball, after it's already too late to catch it. Because I feel like Trevor's already got it in his head of exactly how to catch it as perfect as possible, how to get that fireball. Because it's tough, man, because you've got a bright flame, but then the rest of the stuff around it is not very bright, and you don't want to have blown out spots and stuff, So we'll have Trevor, we'll talk about some photography. It'll be a photography intensive show, I'm sure. Does anybody else have anything to add? Do we have any other suggestions for titles? You could throw them in there, even if I know that there's like a 30-second delay on this, but throw them in there because I will keep the chat up.
I mean, I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 written down.
You do? Mm-hmm. Of that you've written down of your own suggestions?
It's a mixture from the ones
chat?
From. It's a mixture.
Okay, cool. Is one of them you got to throw balls at the something or other?
Yeah.
Got to throw big balls at people.
Big balls that you have to throw at people.
Yeah. All right. Is that it? Is that a show?
I guess.
Sure.
All right. Hey, thanks, chat. Thanks, everybody. Stephanie, Seth, Daryl. Let's see. Who else is in there? I saw Paul was in there. Matthew Jordan, whoever that is.
Eric.
Eric was in there. Yeah, Eric didn't say much, but he chimed in at just the right time with a very good point. We appreciate you guys listening, watching, chiming in. Catch us, you can catch the audio if you want to subscribe to us, just in case you missed the live show on anywhere you get podcasts. I'm pretty sure Spotify, Apple Music,
even on Amazon Podcast now.
Oh, bam! Is there anything else that I should say at this point in the show that I forget because I'm a terrible
Goodbye.
host?
Press the like button
Goodbye,
and the
sir.
subscribe button.
Destroy that subscribe button.
There you go.
All right, play us out.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.